How's it going? This is Ray. So, I just watched the first episode of Moon Knight on Disney Plus, and I did a spoiler-filled review for all of the patrons of the FliteCast. And then I thought, why not do a spoiler-free one for everybody here on YouTube? So, that's what this is. Flightbox in YouTube form, spoiler-free form thoughts about Moon Knight Episode 1, The Goldfish Problem. So, high-level thoughts. I really liked it. Like, seriously, like, it was a really good pilot. And you know what? I don't want to say that, like, pilots are generally bad, but quite honestly, for a lot of times, especially with comic book adaptation shows, pilots take a while. Like, shows take a minute to, like, get through and, like, really hook you in. And it's different with Disney Plus because you're only dealing with 6-episode seasons. So they really do have to hook you in from the beginning. And I feel like this one did. It really did. Like, there were some things in this particular pilot episode that I have been waiting for Marvel to do in, like, all of their medium for, like, years. Seriously. They've done certain things, you know, they've taken some chances and they've been a little edgier with their content at times, right? Infinity War obviously was great. I love how that didn't have a happy ending. That was a great thing for them to do. Not that I'm a fan of the darkness. You know, that is such an overused term when they talk about how dark these movies are and how dark all of this comic book stuff is. Don't you want the kids to watch? Think of the children. No, sometimes you've got to make some stuff that's outside the box that maybe you can't watch with little Timmy and little Susie. I'm using placeholder names. You get what I'm saying. So what did I really like about the Moon Knight pilot? I really liked the way that it was shot. Mohamed Diab, the director, the Egyptian director that they got to do this first episode, did a fantastic job. I loved the cinematography. I loved the lighting and the shading and, like, the different camera choices. There's a lot of moving camera and shaky cam. I don't know what they would call it now. Like, what's the official term for shaky cam? That just seems so cheap now to, like, call it shaky cam. But the type of camera that puts you in the perspective, you know, where you're right in the middle of the action, where you're right up next to the main character, who, of course, in this case is Oscar Isaac's Stephen Grant. And I tell you, throughout that whole pilot, I just felt really sorry for the guy for everything that was going on in the episode, because, I mean, this presents so many mysteries and asks so many questions, and you're just like, wow, I can't wait to find out what the answers to all of this are, if you're someone that is uninitiated to the Moon Knight comic, like I am. There's a ton of Marvel and DC that I've never read. That's all on the list that I need to read, and we'll probably end up talking about either here or on one of my podcasts or something like that at some point in the not too distant future. But I've read no Moon Knight, and there's not a whole lot about the character that I know. But the great thing about this pilot is I don't want to know. I went to the wiki when I was doing the spoiler-filled episode for Patreon, and there was too much information. Like, I was reading a blurb about Oscar Isaac's main character, and it was telling me too many things that the pilot didn't tell me, and I don't want to know. The pilot was so captivating for me that I want to be in the dark. Like, I want to learn through the show. And I'm not treating the show as canon. So anybody that is a Moon Knight comic fan, I'm not acting like the show is just going to be my Bible for whatever the character is. I realize that all of these live-action interpretations are Elseworlds. This is not 100% comic accurate. Maybe this one will be closer to comic accuracy. I don't know. I'll talk to a Moon Knight fan afterwards, but I really like the way that they posited all the mysteries and the way that they positioned everything in this first episode, to the point where I am intrigued to continue watching to see exactly how all of it unfolds and just how much of a hell Stephen Grant's life is going to be in going forward, because, man, does he get tossed around a ton in this first episode. The other big thing that I really liked was the music. Like, I love the needle drop stuff, but I loved the score for this episode. The composer, he's an Egyptian composer named Hashem Nazi, and I really hope I pronounced that name right. But he did such a fantastic job with, like, the orchestrations and, you know, the big heightened action adventure stuff, and even, like, the psychological horror stuff, which that's a cool thing about this show, is, like, when you go to the wiki, it literally has 4 different genres listed for Moon Knight: action adventure, fantasy, psychological horror, and superhero. And you see all 4 of those genres on display just in this pilot. And the music, like, you don't hear, like, all of it. That's one thing I will say. You don't hear, like, the score a whole lot until the back end of the episode, but it fits really well, and it gives this show a theme and a presence that, reverberates throughout. And in back of my head, I was like that theme, like I was moving, I was grooving to that theme. No, I really dug it. It was a really nice job. The two key acting performances that you get in this pilot episode are from Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke, and they were Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke. They were awesome. In fact, there's even a point where there's a scene with Ethan Hawke early on that is extremely uncomfortable. I'll just put it that way. It's not disgusting, it's just painful. I'll put it that way. Was there anything about the pilot that I didn't like? Not really. I mean, aside from some rubbery CGI and some of the chase sequences, that's to be expected with a TV show. Even with a streaming TV show, you're not going to be 100% perfect on the visual effects, especially if you're using the Marvel Studios assembly line process, which they've used to perfection for 14 years plus. Don't take that as an insult. When I say it, I don't mean it as an insult. But it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be crystal clear all the time. Other than that, I really don't have a whole lot of complaints about this pilot. It was a very strong pilot for a show. Will I continue watching this show weekly? Yes, absolutely I will. I have enjoyed all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Disney Plus shows to this point, and I know that there have been criticisms about the other 4 that came out last year: WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, and Hawkeye. And largely the complaints, or the criticisms if you will, stem around the fact that they're only 6-episode seasons. Same deal here with Moon Knight. But I want to see exactly how they proceed with the structure of this show, and I'm always willing to give a new showrunner and a brand new show a benefit of the doubt, even if it's in the same universe. 6 episodes for The Falcon and Winter Soldier did not feel like the same 6 for Hawkeye. Those didn't feel like the same 6 for Loki, and certainly not for WandaVision, because that was really 9 episodes, but 3 or 4 of them were, based off of the old sitcom, so maybe it was really a 5 to 6 episode season if you're just talking about the Westview stuff. But there was enough in this pilot to make me very intrigued to see exactly how they're going to spread out these character dynamics and these story dynamics over the 6 episodes that they've got. Overall, I really enjoyed the pilot, and I'm definitely going to continue watching, and I'll try and offer some more spoiler-free thoughts on it going forward, in addition to the spoiler-filled thoughts that I have in podcast form over on the FliteCast Patreon. But for now, my name is Ray. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.